Hi everyone, my name is Creso, and I'm here today making this first presentation. This is one of the first presentations that we have uh, on a video format to first introduce myself as your host, someone who is working with the sport of Leeway since 2018. We test field that back in 2018 in Brazil, and after many adjustments that we did, we published that in 2021, including with a book, the Leeway Day Sport, uh, in only ebook format. Uh, Again, Leeway, as you may have seen our YouTube channel, is an innovation of the sport of football, also known as soccer here in the United States. Uh, Leeway does not come with the intent of replace or any other intent regarding anything related to soccer, to football. We are just observed aspects of football of what I'm a player and I coached as well. I coached in college, I coached outside college, and we identify aspects that we understood that could be improved, and we did. As in this presentation, I will try to, in one sitting, in this one video, if you hold tight there, I will show all the main aspects of the sport in this whiteboard here. You may be asking why a whiteboard and not a more fancy presentation? Because whiteboard is something that every single coach uses, and there's no magic here. Also, there's conversation that Leeway was created by AI, artificial intelligence. None of that's true. I'm the inventor of the sport's copyrighted to my name. We had many contributors that participated in the development of the sport because we needed the coach and players to, as I said, to field test that. But there was no artificial intelligence. It was fully human developed. There is a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of time and dedication to have this sport ready. Now we are in that phase that we are wanting and making a great effort to put matches in events in effect, to have matches done. So let's get started. I will turn most of this video, you'll be looking at the board because that's what matters. So I will be looking to the board and speaking in the video, in the audio here, and I'll be following each step of the game. So here we have the board with the Leeway field. The Leeway field, as you can see, is very simple. It's a rectangle with a 5-yard line, a 15-yard line, the midfield line, and a 5-yard line on the other side. This is it. It's a very simple field. Is 70 to 80 yards wide by 100 to 120 yards long. Artificial turf or grass, doesn't matter. We do not encourage people to play in a bigger field because of the dynamics of the game is very demanding, especially for the defenders, as you will see later on in other presentations, not today. Today you're going to be talking about only about the field and the basic rules of the game. So this is the field, 5 yards, 15 yards, midfield line. As far as you go, there's 4 corner flags, 3 referees, and 12 players on each field. 12 players plus 1 goalkeeper. So it's a total of 13 players on each team plus a crew of referees, 1 central referee and 1 line referee on each side. Each half time is 40 minutes, 2 half times of 40 minutes, a total of 80 minutes. plus stoppage time if it is determined by the referee. Uh, the goalpost is officially 6 inches wider and taller, higher than the official soccer field, soccer goalpost. Sometimes people do use the soccer posts as long as they are on the same size, but our official goalpost is 6 inches wider and 6 inches taller than the official soccer goalpost. Now let's begin with the phases of the game. The first thing, this is the ball. We have here two teams, a blue team and a green team. If you observe, for the kickoff, the only one team, here we have the green team, and the blue team. The blue team is going to make the kickoff. The ball is on the midfield line, and the ball must be kicked forward. And all the other players of the other team must be behind the 15-yard line. This is it. This is the kickoff. All the teams of the team that is kicking can be anywhere, and the other team that is receiving, that is not kicking off, must be behind the 15-yard line. The ball must be kicked forward because it takes me to the next point, the forward rule. In Leeway, once the ball is on the midfield line or passes it on possession of a team, the team cannot kick the ball back into the defense field. So the ball is in the midfield line, you cannot kick the ball back into the defense field. That is called the forward rule. You probably already know from the YouTube channel by looking there. It's very simple and prevent abuse of time consuming, time wasting, cooling off the game, all those strategies that people do, and decrease the efficiency of the game. This is over in a way. You cannot do that. If you do, you lose possession of the ball. The ball is reverted to the other team. If you during the match, you do that, you kick the ball back into your field, you lose possession, and the ball is given to the other team that will side kick in by the midfield line on either side. You can side kick here or side kick here, basically putting the ball back in game, giving the possession to the other team with a side kick. Now this takes me to the next point, that is exactly the side kick. What is a side kick? In Leeway, there is no such a thing as throw-in. Throw-in, which is how you put the ball back in game when the ball goes out of bounds, right, through the sideline. In Leeway, we don't do that. In Leeway, we put the ball on the line or by the line, on the lateral line, on the sideline, or by it, like 1 or 2 feet, and kick the ball. The ball cannot be rolling. This is it. It's called side kicking because it's kicked from the side of the field and it is kicked into the field. Again, if you are on the attack field, you cannot kick the ball back into the defense field because of the same forward rule. If you are in the defense field, putting the ball back into the game with a side kick, you can kick the ball anywhere because you are in the defense field. We find that throw-ins are counterproductive, are inefficient. You cannot do anything with a throw-in. You cannot do. Throw a ball with 2 hands is inefficient. You cannot throw the ball long, hard, deep. You cannot do anything. Here, no. Here you can even kick at the goal. If you have a side kick in at 15 yards, you can kick at the goal. You can kick at the goal from anywhere with a side kick in. It's completely valid. Nope. You can cross the ball, you can launch a counter attack, and so forth. The next is the frontal kick. The frontal kick is when the ball goes out of bounds by the goal line. And the ball must be put in the frontal kick on the inside the 5 yards or on the 5-yard line. Inside the 5 yards or on the 5-yard line. This is it. As simple as that. It can be kicked by any teammate, team player. Either the goalkeeper or any player can kick the ball, but the ball must leave the 15-yard area. When you give the frontal kick, the ball must leave, must cross the 15 yards to be considered in game. If it does not, it has to be repeated. It's not valid. Nobody can intercept the ball at this point here, even the opponent cannot, because the ball is not in game yet. Once the ball crosses here, it's in game. There's as simple as that. So you can kick here, you can pass here, you can pass here. Doesn't matter. As long as the ball crosses, the ball becomes in game. Of course, if the ball is already in game and the goalkeeper receives the ball and it's not a frontal kick, the ball where the ball must be not rolling, right? In all those kicks that you mentioned, the ball cannot be rolling. Let's be clear. If once you kick that, if the ball is in game, this rule does not apply because the ball is already in game. I'm talking about specifically the frontal kick. So we talked about the side kick in, the frontal kick. Corner kick is exactly the same. When you have the ball that leaves by the goal line of the opponent, the ball is put here and is kicked as a corner. Of note, again, the ball cannot be rolling just like in football, soccer. And the ball can be kicked anywhere, but again, cannot be kicked to cross the midfield line for the same reason, for the forward rule. But nobody does that, but just to mention. Because of the way the offside works in Leeway, no player of the attack team can be inside the 5 yards because the ball is not rolling, right? So the ball, when in a corner kick, all the opponent team, for example here, has to be outside the 5 yards. We can later explain the dynamics of that, but this is one of the reasons to protect the goalkeeper. There's no, of course, once the ball is kicked, you can run into, but not before. Once the ball is kicked in the air, you can run into, you can head the ball, everything inside the 5 yards, but you cannot be already inside the 5 yards when the ball is scored. So the other aspect is the direct kick and the indirect kick. The direct kick is when an attacker, typically is an attacker, suffer a foul in the attack field. If you are any player and you suffer a foul in the attack field, in your attack field, it's going to be called a direct kick. That can be with a barrier or not. Who asks for the barrier? The goalkeeper. The goalkeeper may ask or not for a barrier. The barrier is put 12 yards from the ball, with as many players as the goalkeeper determines. As simple as that. Or can be left to kick directly, as sometimes they do. It's so far away that the goalkeeper does not want a barrier. The indirect kick is when the same player, any player receive a fault, is faulted in his defense field, his or her defense field, in this area here, right? If you suffer a fault in your defense field, you're gonna kick what I call a indirect kick. Indirect kick cannot use a barrier, human barrier. So we talked about the frontal kick, a small recap here, the frontal kick, the side kicks in the defense and in the attack. We talked about the corner kick. Now we talked about the direct kick and the indirect kick. Let's talk about the penalty kick. Penalty kick in Leeway is kicked from with the ball not rolling at the 15 yards or behind. The kicker chooses where to put a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. It doesn't matter as long as it is on the line or outside. He cannot put the ball inside the 15-yard area. If you observe, is a little farther away than in soccer. In soccer is at 12 yards, but here we kick at 15 yards, and we can discuss that in another opportunity, but the main reason is that here requires more skill from the kicker to score the goal. Is more levels the playing a little bit more in favor of the goalkeeper. And we know that many penalties are fabricated, are caused, a simulation. So, but this is a big conversation that we could talk about in one whole chapter. But the reason is that it balance it out a little more to give the goalkeeper a little bit more opportunity to defend, and requires the kicker of the penalty, that in Leeway is called a major penalty kick, MPK, major penalty kick, requires a little bit more skill to score the goal. Now let's talk about two very important aspects: the offside and the scoring system. But before I talk about these two things, I want to talk about the substitution. Substitution in Leeway is very simple. It's swapping. One player can go in and out of the field, just like in basketball, American football, volley, lacrosse. Most sports can do that. Football not, soccer not, but most of other sports do. So as long as you don't get a yellow card, if your player get a yellow card, this player has a timeout of 3 or 5 minutes, depending on what is agreed on the organization of the event. 3 or 5 minutes of timeout. This player, when he gets the timeout, he can only be replaced. He can come back in after the 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Typically it's 3 minutes, because they agree typically in going out, they have a timeout of only 3 minutes. But you cannot be swapped anymore. You can't go back in, but if you go out, it's going to be because you are replaced. You are not swapped. So very simple. You can get a yellow card, you get out, you can get up to 2 yellow cards in Leeway, a player. Every time you get out and you get 3 or 5 minutes out of the game, a timeout. Go to the sin bin, as some call. This penalizes the team. We don't penalize the players. We penalize the team. If a team has players that are not disciplined, the team will be penalized. We don't penalize players. Okay? Because this team will not have this player for 3 minutes and will not have the versatility to be able to swap players. Imagine if you have 4 or 5 players with yellow cards. You lost all those minutes of play with one less player, and you cannot swap these players. You can only replace them, just like in football. It's a disadvantage. Right? So now let's talk about, so this is swapping, and I already just mentioned, in Leeway, you can have up to 2 yellow cards and 1 red card. That is obvious eviction of the game, immediate expulsion of the game, has the same. After the second yellow card, you cannot get any other card other than a red card. But you can get a red card right straight, first time, first offense, depending on the judgment of the referee. So let's now talk about the scoring system and the offside. Let me begin by the one that is simpler. The offside. In Leeway, offside does not depend on the position of the defenders and the attackers, like in soccer. And this is probably the biggest difference between Leeway and soccer. Here you have, if a player, let's suppose that we are talking about here, about the blue attack. Here's the green team defending, right? The green team is defending, and here's the ball. Doesn't matter this position because we're going to be looking at this part of the field here. Doesn't matter The blue team is attacking. It does not matter the position of the defender to determine if this player is offside or not. This player can be here and will be completely legal because this player is outside of the 5 yards. So the first two statements you can understand completely the rule of offside and leeway. Statement 1. Any player outside of the 5 yards at the moment that the ball is kicked to him, he or she will never be offside. Repeat that again. Any player that it is outside of the 5 yards at the moment that the ball is kicked will never, under any circumstances, be offside. First statement. Second statement. If a player is inside the 5 yard, he will be in offside. Except if the ball is inside the 5 yard and it is rolling, is in game, not a corner kick. It is rolling. If this teammate here has the ball, playing with the ball and pass this ball here, he will not be, because the ball itself is rolling inside the 5 yards. Cannot get easier than that, right? If you cannot, it's two statements, it's almost one statement only. If you're outside the 5 yards, at the time that the ball is launched to the attack, you will never be. And if you are, you will always be, except if the ball itself is launched to you and the ball is inside and in game, rolling. If it is a corner kick or a side kick in from here, doesn't matter, from anywhere and you inside, you're going to be offside. The ball must be rolling inside the 5 yards. Now comes the other aspect is so defenders cannot have influence, cannot limit the movement of the attacker. This is the biggest difference. In leeway, these defenders here cannot make a line and prevent the vertical movement. For example, if this line of the defense sits here in soccer, these players cannot be beyond. Right? We know that. They cannot be behind at the time that the ball is launched. In leeway, none of that happens. It doesn't matter. If you're a defender, you have to defend, and this is it. You have to defend, and the position of the offside is determined by what the position of the attacker is in relation to the field, not in relation to the defender. Period. Another detail, the last detail about the offside. If one player in leeway is offside, the whole attack is void. There's no such a thing, oh, the ball didn't come to me. No. If you are offside, if the ball was launched to the attack and you were inside the 5 yards, you basically void the whole attack, even if you did not participate. We assume that you, inside the 5 yard, will have some influence over the goalkeeper and over the defense. So if you are here and the player who received the ball is this one, you void you basically nullify the player, disqualify the player, disallow the player, because you are offside, even if you did not participate. Clear? Very simple. Now let's talk about the last aspect is the scoring system. And the video is over. The video is going to be over. The scoring system in leeway is very simple. You have to score a goal to make points. 1 point or 2 points. We have what we call game goal and the kick goal. The game goal is 95% of the goals created. It's the goal where the ball is in game and is touched 2 or more times by any player. Very simple. The ball is in game, is rolling, is in game, and is touched physically by 2 or more players. Has 2 or more touches on the ball by any player. In this goal, called game goal, is worth 2 points. This is the typical goal that happens. There is another goal that is kind of an exception goal. It has a very restrictive rule, very specific, which is called the kick goal. The kick goal is a goal where the ball, after the ball is put in game, it always starts from a stationary ball of any type, a corner kick, a side kick, a direct, because the ball cannot be in game, because otherwise it's going to be in touch, right? It's going to be being touched by many players. The ball is stationary somewhere, and after the ball is put in game, is kicked, it started only one time or none at all and enter the goal. For example, I am here with a side kick in, I cross this ball to the area, and this teammate receives the ball and head the ball into the goal. This is a kick goal because it was only one touch, this touch here. Or if I kick directly into the goal and nobody touch, does not hit anybody, zero touch, right? Is a kick goal. A corner kick, I'm kicking a corner, this player here, I kick the corner and he heads, give one touch in the ball, is a kick goal. There is a number. I have a direct kick here. I kick the ball over the barrier, main barrier, and the ball enters the goal. Nobody does not touch anybody. It's a kick goal. All those goals are worth 1 point. Very simple. There are one detail though. There are 3 elements that are neutral, does not count. The goalposts, of course. The referee does not count. If the ball hits the referee, does not count for. And the goalkeeper of the goal that was scored. All those elements does not count as a touch, as one physical touch. Only the defenders and the attackers comes into this calculation here. If the ball is stationary, is not rolling, and is kicked, is put in game, and it enters the goal, and before entering the goal is touched by one, is touched one time or not at all and enters the goal, it is a kick goal and is worth only 1 point. This is to increase the consideration of team participation. The game goal that is worth 2 points requires a lot more team participation than the kick goal. It's obvious, right? A ball that 6 or 7 players exchange, pass, ball, launch, and score a goal has much more team involvement, participation than a penalty kick, for example. There is another example that can be a kick goal. It was only one kick, so it's going to be 1 point only. Of course, if you kick the ball, for example, if you're going to kick a penalty, you kick the ball, the goalkeeper defends, you receive the ball back inside the area after kicking, and you give 2 or 3 touches, there is already a game goal because the ball is in game and received many touches from you. So does not matter if it is a rolling ball. If the ball is in game and it was touched 2, including 2 or more times before entering the goal, it is a game goal. Only these exceptional circumstances that I mentioned here, corner, side kick in, direct kick, indirect kick, any time that the ball is stationary, is put in game and is touched 1 time or not at all and enter the goal, it is a kick goal worth 1 point. I hope that you could sit and hear this presentation up to this point. And this ends our first video. And I hope to, in the next videos, elaborate a little more over each one of those aspects of the game and talk a little bit more about the strategies, how the game developed, how does the defense should position itself, the attack, and so forth. Now, to be too long, I think that this size for the video, I hope that you guys could sit and listen to this video to this point. Thank you very much.